Hello and welcome to the SAP Let's Talk Data podcast series. My name is Thorsten Leiduck. I'm leading our ecosystem activities for the SAP Platform Technology. I'm very pleased and it's a distinct honor to welcome Salam, CEO and founder of our partner, Sodales Solutions. So Sana and myself, we really met the first time 2014 when Sana and Sodales Solutions joined SAP as a partner, when the first applications on the SAP Business Technology Platform were built and published on the SAP Store. So you really can say that Sodales Solutions is a company which was born and raised on the SAP platform and has really delivered an amazing journey of growth and helped our customers to really innovate effectively. And with this having said, maybe Sana, you want to share a few more details on Sodales Solutions and provide some more insights in how the company has been set up and what the focus areas are?
Yes, absolutely. Well, first of all, good afternoon, Thorsten. Good to see you again. So yes, absolutely. So we are born and raised in the SAP BTP platform. It used to be called SAP Cloud Platform. Very attractive offering. It was something that was at that time just a vision, and it's come to a place where we have now over 100 customers running on it. In the past 3 years, we actually went from an app company to a proper software as a service platform that runs on BTP. And we've actually had a tremendous growth in terms of our annual recurring revenue and going from a service app company to now a full subscription-based model software company where we've had 2x to 3x revenue growth year over year. Global customers in highly regulated industries, and our scenarios are mainly around employee relations and health and safety for highly regulated customers. And some of these customers are really large enterprises, companies such as the World Bank Group, State of Nevada, PG&E, Cargill, Coca-Cola. So large enterprise customers that are operating globally, a software product that we actually have built on BTP and have had great success.
Thank you, Sana. And maybe, as you mentioned, and I mentioned SAP Business Technology Platform. So maybe let me elaborate a little bit and share here with the audience what it is, right? So it is, as part of SAP's broader strategy, the kind of foundation for our, what we call intelligent and sustainable enterprise framework to help our customers effectively to become a digital enterprise. And it comprises a couple of capabilities from a technology perspective. So we help our customers to effectively gain value out of data by leveraging real-time insights and analytics. We help to connect the right systems, SAP and non-SAP systems, also data, process, and people across the enterprise. And we provide an effective application development and an AI framework to really personalize and build out personalized applications, right? And this is exactly what you have done with Sodales Solutions in such an elegant way. So maybe you can share a little bit more in detail in terms of how you have leveraged the business technology platform, what capabilities are you using, and basically how has this led to really meaningful applications and innovation assets for our customers.
Absolutely. So in our case, our journey was just started with an experiment where we saw a space where companies have highly regulated contracts with their unions. And these are situations where they're dealing with external regulatory bodies, they are dealing with government, they're dealing with external non-employee workers. And they also have very massive contracts that need to then tie back into their core business process in HR, in finance, and in operations. So if you combine all of that, we saw that BTP would be a good use case good place for us to develop this use case. So for a company like ours, because we're also bootstrapped and self-funded, and we wanted to build this product using our own cash flow and wanted to launch our MVP very, very quickly, it was critical to use an agile platform. And it was also critical to use a platform that would then eventually be scalable so that we can start with an MVP and then continue to build upon it. So in our case, it was really a solution that we first built was actually grievance management and collective bargaining. And because of the fact that we're dealing with an external non-employee audience and we're going back all the way to financial systems, BTP was a very secure platform for us to drive all that end-to-end business processes. So we started with just a business process thread, and then we continue to add on top of it with analytics, with APIs, with additional reporting, and then finally connectivity to external regulatory bodies. So over the past 3 years, we went through many, many, many releases of our product on BTP. And I think in our case, I think the use case criteria was the SAP HANA service on BTP, because it does support the big data capabilities where we needed contractual data, finance data, and HR data all combined in one place and analyzed and processed. So due to the big data use case, we chose SAP HANA and then eventually BTP as well.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. Thank you. So maybe, as obviously as part of this whole process, you have obviously to identify the right opportunity, right? The right white space to complement solutions customers are looking for, or drive, or actually identify customer demand, which really makes a difference, provides a difference for them in terms of their differentiation in the marketplace. So could you elaborate a little bit, right? What is your approach in identifying those use cases, right? Identifying white space opportunities, or how do you help customers to innovate? Maybe this is the other way to say it. And also how, what kind of value drivers are associated with this?
Yes, there's so many ways to look at it. I think the first one would start by, for us, we had people in our team who had come from a similar industry background where they had seen a lot of systems that had similar solutions, but none of those systems were talking to each other. So for example, I would say the first person to join our team who actually, and that's actually goes back to the skill set that you need, is the person who had an industry expertise. And they had seen solutions with employee relations, they had seen solutions with safety, but they had not seen a solution together. Also, they had not seen a solution that could actually talk to HR and operations and finance at the same time. But due to the fact that the way industry was evolving, the entire industry, despite the companies, many organizations who already had products like this or similar products like this, they didn't have any downstream integrations, and because of the lack of downstream integration, they were missing out on being proactive, being preventative. They were always reacting to situations. In the area that we operate in, which is regulatory compliance, a small issue can be a very big impact on a company in terms of their reputation, financial loss, or E1 retention of their own employees. So for that reason, we looked at, for us, the white space was not just a business use case. It was actually taking the use case, but then combining it with the downstream integration, and then finally giving it a lot of self-service usage. So another area that we uncovered was really because of how the industry was evolving. More and more companies were wanting their own finance and HR and operations team to have the capability of safety and employee relations, and not just have it, in a box of legal team or health and safety team, which is a much smaller team in a company. So they wanted to basically build that skill set in other teams as well. So the only way to achieve that is actually you need to rebuild this whole product differently, as opposed to just having a silo business process. Have designed a fully integrated business process with all the industry content linking together, and then having downstream integrations available as well. So I think that for us, the white space was, yes, there is a white space in terms of, how the solutions has evolved. But I think there were already a lot of solutions in this space. It was actually a very competitive space. The white space only existed for us in terms of when we started to look at the bigger opportunity of integration and preventative approach for safety and employee relations.
Very interesting, very interesting.
So I do want to add one point for any partners, even customers. It should not be a rocket science to figure out, okay, we are hearing about this one problem again and again. And these 3 healthcare customers or these 3 transportation customers, it's a repeat problem. That's where you actually start from, because what you can do as a partner or even as a customer, bring your own unique element and unique knowledge and expertise to the picture. And I know people always start with technology, but it actually all starts with identifying the use case that would also have a fit. So you then start with the basics or foundation of the use case.
So it's very customer-driven innovation. That's the approach which you take. Yeah. Very exciting. So, we also briefly touched base that your solutions are on the SAP Store, and you have actually even an SAP endorsed that on the SAP Store. So, the SAP Store, maybe here for also for the audience, is, the central landing page of where SAP really promotes all SAP and partner solutions on a central place for customers really to discover, buy, and try now those solutions. Now the question is really for you, Sana, what is your experience with the SAP Store? How is Sodales Solutions using it? And also, as we talk about enterprise applications, right? How do customers really look at an online store, and how do you really see uptick there and how it's being used?
Okay, so it's a very good question because we use SAP Store a lot, starting from educating our own customers or even working with partners. So I think the way to look at SAP Store is actually based. I call it a hub for distribution. Really, it's a distribution channel for partners to distribute their innovations. And for customers, it's a place where they can find expertise, really. So what it has done is that it's actually worked, they actually have a full process of where they qualify partners in a specific expert area. And any partner's expertise are now packaged into a solution or a software format, which is validated, tried, tested, and also in terms of its security and its integration, it has a valid use case. So customers, what they can do is, for example, if they have an in-house system that is giving them problem, or if they have a change in business need and they need to act on light speed because they also need to address their business requirements, what they can do is actually go on the App Store and actually search the keyword, especially really for many customers starts with that. Most of the leads or customers that we have gotten, and these are, by the way, very influential leaders in a company. So they would be at a vice president level, or they would be at a senior director level. So they actually have buying decisions in a company. And most of them would be line of business leaders. And they actually have a good experience already searching for apps online. So that's really good because the market is changing that way. So they would literally search for a specific keyword in a specific area that they're looking for. And their preference would always be to not build it from scratch and make it a science project and actually use something that's already available. And there's many partner applications that they can actually look at and even compare even within the same area. So that's for customers. And most of our customers at this point have at least 3 to 5 apps from App Store running at the same time because they've gone through that exercise. And it makes them look like a rock star in front of their end users because they have shown demonstration of innovation very quickly, as opposed to waiting for a year-long project. On the partner side, what I find, and especially for our case, our customers are in regulated industries, so they cannot purchase a product without going through an RFP, and it's a very complex procurement cycle. However, for us, the leads actually came through when they were actually doing market research. They were looking for vendors to include in their procurement cycle, to invite them to come and present. And that initial research phase was really critical for them to find us. And this includes customers who are even sitting in Australia, sitting in Middle East. So customers are places where we don't even have any presence. So I think for us, it was really a distribution channel, product distribution channel. And I think for customers, it was a place to really enjoy agility very quickly in terms of innovation.
Oh, very interesting. So really, you could extend the reach basically, to places where you don't have any salespeople, even, and customers, obviously, that's the idea. Find, obviously, solutions which they might be not aware of, even connect with companies, they have never done business with. Wow. Mm-hmm. So maybe then if we shift gears a little bit, right, you have been obviously very successful and experienced on the business technology, working on the business technology platform. So what are your lessons learned, and what are some critical skills customers or maybe also other partners should consider?
Yes. So, all right. So I think the first step is if you look at a practice that is already established, you will have all the roles. You'll have a product manager, you will have deployment managers, you will have business analysts, you'll have all these roles. But the big question is what to hire for first. If you are starting off, who do you need to hire first? That's the first question that everybody struggles with. So I think because we are self-funded and we are self-sufficient, we have to be very careful about not to hire extra and not to have skill sets that are not needed at a certain point. So for us, what worked really well is, okay, we need to identify a use case. These are the problems you're seeing in the industry again and again, or these are the markets we operate in today. So let's look at an expert who is an industry expert in this area. Let's work with them first. So that's the first skill set we hired. Secondly is we have, if you have a problem statement that you're trying to solve, very important, don't build the whole product right away, because the problem statement itself could change in 6 months. So to always start with, I call it 4 layers. The first layer is the business process layer, which is where you can have the front end, such as a UI5 skill, and a back end, such as a HANA skill, available in your team. And then that's called business process thread. The second thread is your thread for reportings and analytics. So that can be done with HANA, or there's other analytical tools available within the BTP tool itself. And then finally, third one would be all the APIs. So even if you have a person on your team who has skill set with PI or PO or even other integration platforms, they can easily learn the integration capabilities of BTP and design their own integration connectors. And then finally, last but not the least, would be areas where you will begin to do solution administration, because before you become a software, from going from an app to a software, you actually need to have self-service administration of the product. That's when it really becomes a software. So that is a step you build in the last. So if you do it in these gradual ways, not only you'll be able to test your product market fit, but also you'll be able to build your team in a gradual manner and start to have cash flow coming in early on, even from your MVP phase, because as your product is maturing, you're also improving your annual recurring revenue by improving the product price by more features. So if you combine all of these 3 things together, your product, your pricing strategy, and your skill sets, you'll actually be able to build a good business model as well as a good product that customer will actually use.
Excellent. So, maybe then just to complement this here for, again, our customers and partners who might be here on the call, we have obviously, quite a few resources which might be helpful for you to get started. And maybe I want to reference this accordingly. A lot of those resources which you have used as well, Sana, right? So we have a very specific area for BTP learning journey. So if you want to get more familiar with what is BTP, the SAP Business Technology Platform, so this would be the place to get started. We also offer our customers free trial systems. So if you really want to touch it and feel it, this is available too. There's a lot of LOB use cases available, which could be used for ideation and exploration. And then obviously we have even a discovery center where you can start with missions. But then last but not least, if you really are interested in what are the solutions which are out there, what are the innovations our partners have built on the SAP Business Technology Platform, as Sana said previously, right, we have the SAP Store as the central marketplace for you to discover that. And you will find Sana's and Sodales Solutions endorsed app on the SAP Store. So I would definitely recommend that you click that one or search for that one. Did I miss anything, Sana? Are there any other important resources which you think we should highlight here to the audience before we wrap up?
I would say a lot of the times when we are talking to customers, the number one area that actually we score the highest anywhere in our bids and RFPs is actually security. Most people would not realize it. The BTP security and encryption and privacy capability is very strong, and there's some very unique features as well that come with HANA, such as field level encryption and a whole bunch of other things. So a lot of the times that actually give you, if you're building your software on BTP, it will give you an edge over other products that are out there in a similar space. So that's one thing. So for us, that has really helped a lot. So we actually, to be honest, use help.sap.com a lot and use a lot of the guides from there on the SAP HANA service. For us, I would say what worked really well is to, as we were building and improving our use case, see what's available out there, because there are resources that you mentioned are available, but just getting hands-on and starting to build use case. And as you hit a hurdle or a point of, where you're stopping and not making progress, there's help available through the SAP partnership program and even the community itself. And there's answers available on that particular area. So that worked really well for us. I also, if we have time, would like to cover some customer specific use cases and stories as well.
Of course. Yeah. No, excellent. Yeah. Now let's do that, right? So if you have any customer specific stories and use cases.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, so let's do that. So here's a couple of things that I want to mention is, when we looked at our space, it was very critical as we were building to start looking at what customers are really missing today. So we saw that in terms of, for example, health and safety and employee relations, this is one legal team and one health and safety team, and this is a very specialized skill. It's kind of sitting outside of core HR and finance. And especially in the last 2-3 years, we've seen everything in any company has a big impact on people and their financials and profitability, of course. And they're under a lot of pressure with, given the fact that one entire industry might be going through a change. So what we have learned in that process is that how critical it is to have solutions that can allow different departments of an organization to work under one umbrella. So when you defined early on in our session today the definition of BTP of you can leverage data from different data sets. A very good example for customers is, for example, companies in our with the health and safety solution, for example, are trying to reduce the lost time injury frequency rate. They're trying to reduce the claims costs. And for that, it's really, really critical for them to have a good visibility of what's happening in HR, health and safety, legal policy compliance, and then how it's impacting finance. So it's actually a really critical integration for them to be able to see, for example, if they're using S/4HANA and SuccessFactors, then BTP will allow them to combine all of that in one business scenario and one reporting structure. I talked about HANA early on. It's such a powerful, actually, the most powerful tool in our opinion, because it actually allows them to extend their data model. Really, that's the line I want to use, extend their data model outside of their core capabilities, which means if tomorrow they need to even bring in a third-party data and then further analyze things together with their finance and HR, they can do that. So that data model extensibility is available with HANA. So in terms of like business results, what they would achieve with it, I use a customer use case. One of the largest utilities that we work with, they have massive staffing commitments with their unions, and those are all union contracts. So you load them up into our solution, which is basically using SAP HANA. And then what it does is that it drives what will happen in recruitment, and from there it will drive what will happen in financial billing. So with that, not only you are creating a safer place for public safety, because utility companies are serving millions of customers and they need to have the right skill set available at the right time. And those commitments with their unions and contracts allow them to do that. And basically the impact, like I mentioned, can be really huge in that case. So in this case, they're actually reducing up to 10,000 different manual paperwork steps a day, and addressing their staffing commitments in a timely manner, and which is helping them drive the right way of doing their utility billing and customer commitments as well. So those are some of the use case examples I wanted to bring to your attention of the power of bringing data together in a real life context.
Yeah, very insightful and obviously very, very, very special. So yeah, maybe, let me maybe, conclude by saying, Sana, thanks for joining us. But also, I think, you're really a role model for our customers and partners to demonstrate, right, the innovation capabilities which are accessible for you as a customer in the SAP ecosystem, how you can basically get access to a vast set of solutions based on LOBs, industry specific, data driven, whatever your problem is which you want to solve. The SAP Store is a good way to discover this first, and then companies like Sodales Solutions can really help you to deliver on your innovation agenda and also to realize quick time to value. So with having this said, Sana, thanks again for joining us. It was a true pleasure, and thanks everybody here in the audience for spending time with us at this podcast.
For having me.